We spend our entire lives planning for retirement, right? Building up that nest egg for a sense of security, for peace of mind. But what if the single biggest threat to that security isn't something you can track in a market report? What if it's a quiet, unspoken pressure sitting right there at your own dinner table? Today, we're going to bring a financial reality that's rarely discussed out into the light.
Think about that for a second. This isn't about inflation or some market downturn. The anxiety, the real worry, often comes from a place of love. It's that unspoken expectation that your life savings aren't just for you anymore, but they're also the safety net for your entire family. If that feeling resonates with you at all, please know you are not alone. This is a hidden truth for millions of people over 60, and today we're going to give it a name and, more importantly, a solution.
All right, so to really get a handle on this, we first need to define what we're talking about. This isn't just some passing worry. It's a powerful, almost invisible force that has very real consequences. So in this first section, we're going to define this unspoken pressure and really understand how it works.
There's a name for this phenomenon: the family bank. Now, of course, it's not a real bank. There are no loan officers, no applications, no interest rates. Instead, it operates on a very powerful, unwritten agreement. It's this quiet assumption that because you've saved responsibly your whole life, you are now the designated financial backstop, the emergency fund for your adult kids and maybe even your grandkids. This pressure is so tricky because it's silent. It's fueled by love, by a sense of obligation, and by that deep, profound guilt that just the thought of saying no can bring up.
So let me just ask you, and be honest with yourself for a moment. Do you recognize that? Have you ever felt that quiet expectation that you'll be the one to help with a down payment or chip in for a student loan or cover an unexpected bill? If you're nodding your head right now, you are part of an incredibly common but rarely discussed dynamic. And you know what? Just by acknowledging it right here, right now, we're taking the first real step toward managing it.
Okay, so we've identified the pressure. Now it's time to get really clear about what's at stake. Because while these requests almost always come from a place of genuine need and love, they can pose a serious threat to your own financial future. In this next part, we're going to explore what's truly at risk every time the family bank is open for withdrawal.
The core danger here has a technical name, but it's really simple to understand: capital depletion. Let's break that down. This isn't about spending the interest or the dividends your investments might be making. No, this is about giving away the principal, the core savings you spent a lifetime building. See, for someone who's still in their working years, a financial setback can be overcome. They have time to earn more. But for someone on a fixed income, that loss is direct. And this is the most important part: it's irreversible. You can't just earn it back. Every large gift is like pulling a brick out of the foundation of your financial house. And eventually, that structure can become dangerously unstable. Now, what I find so helpful about this is how it frames the situation logically, just for a moment, taking the emotion out of it. On one side, you have the senior's need. It's based on a fixed income, it's about longevity, and it's absolutely critical. Any loss of that capital is permanent. On the other side, you have an adult child's need. Now, it's very real, it's stressful for them, I get it, but it's often short-term, and it's based on their working age earning potential, which means they have time and the ability to recover financially. When you just look at it laid out like this, the priority becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? Protecting that irreversible capital simply has to come first.
So we've defined the problem, we've analyzed the risk, and that brings us right to the turning point: the solution. What we're about to talk about is the single most important principle you can adopt to protect your future and, honestly, to get your peace of mind back.
Here it is. This is the heart of it. Your number one job, your primary mandate, above any and all financial requests, is to prioritize your own longevity. And let me be clear, this is not selfish. It is not unkind. It is actually the most responsible thing you can do. Your financial runway, the money you need to live with dignity and independence for the rest of your life, that is your absolute number one priority. Everything else has to be secondary.
Of course, as I say that, I know exactly what many of you are probably thinking. Well, that sounds great in theory, but in the real world, it feels impossible, right? How do you actually say no to a child or a grandchild that you love deeply without creating a huge rift or making them feel like you don't care? That right there is the emotional knot we have to untangle. And thankfully, there is a practical tool that gives us the answer.
The solution is something called the Objective Financial Boundary Script. Let's just look at those words for a second. Objective and neutral mean it's based on facts, not feelings. Boundary. It's a clear line you won't cross. And script means it's something you plan and practice ahead of time. The real power of this tool is that it completely depersonalizes the refusal. You're no longer saying, I don't want to help you. Instead, what you're saying is, our financial policy doesn't allow for this. See how that shifts the entire conversation?
So, having a tool like this can be a total game changer. But how do you actually build one? And more importantly, how do you use it in a real-life conversation? Well, in this section, we're going to move from theory into practice. We're going to walk through the exact steps to make this work.
As you can see, there are 4 key steps to building this boundary effectively. First, it all starts inside, with you. Establishing that put yourself first mandate. That's your private commitment to your own future. Second, we're going to develop the actual words of your objective script. Third, we'll talk about how to pivot your support to non-financial areas that are incredibly valuable, so your love and care are never in doubt. And finally, we'll cover something called the transparency rule to manage everyone's expectations.
All right, now we get to building the script itself. And every single successful boundary conversation begins not with denial, but with empathy. Before you say anything else, you have to validate their feelings. Starting with a simple phrase like, I understand this is a difficult situation, or I can hear how stressful this must be for you. It immediately lowers their defenses. It shows them you're listening, that you actually care. You're connecting with them as a person first. This is absolutely the crucial first part of your script.
Okay, so after you've shown that you understand, then you state your boundary using that objective language. This is the core of the script. Just notice the words, firm policy, income floor. This sounds like it's coming from a financial plan, not an emotional whim. You're simply letting them know about a pre-existing rule that you have in place to protect your own financial foundation. This totally removes you from the role of the bad guy saying no and recasts you as the person who is simply upholding a necessary policy for your own survival.
And this brings us to the third and maybe the most important pivot in the conversation, shifting to non-financial support. Right after you've stated the financial boundary, you immediately follow up by reaffirming your love and your desire to help in other ways. You're saying no to the money, you are not saying no to them. Offering your time, your experience, or practical help like watching the kids, these are incredibly valuable gifts. They reinforce that family bond without draining your savings. And that leads us to the final piece of the strategy, step 4, the transparency rule. This is really important if you have more than one child. The rule is simple. Any talk about significant financial help happens with all the siblings in the loop. This stops one child from becoming a kind of silent drain on your funds, and it just ensures fairness and open communication for everyone.
Using a script is a fantastic tactic, it really is. But for this change to stick, for it to feel right in your heart, it needs to be backed up by a deeper shift in your own mindset. So let's zoom back out from the how-to and get back to the why. Let's reframe this really tough decision as an act of profound, long-term love.
I want you to just sit with this idea for a moment. Saying no to a financial request isn't an act of being mean or withholding something. It is an act of responsible stewardship. You are the guardian of your own future. And by protecting your savings, you are making sure that you won't become financially dependent on your children down the road, which is maybe the greatest gift you could ever give them. This act of protecting yourself is the true foundation for your own lasting peace of mind.
And really, this is what it's all about. This is the end goal. When you preserve your capital, you are directly investing in your ability to maintain your independence. And that independence is what allows you to secure real peace of mind, free from that constant financial worry. All of these things work together to protect your final years, making sure that they can be lived with the autonomy and the dignity that you have earned and that you absolutely deserve.
We have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've moved from a hidden problem to a practical solution and hopefully to a new perspective. So let's bring it all together now with one final, gentle challenge that I think can create lasting change for you and for your whole family.
So what's the story we've uncovered here? Well, it starts with a simple truth. The greatest threat to your retirement isn't something out there, it's the internal pressure to be the family bank. A pressure that can permanently drain the savings you need to live. But then, we found the insight that gives you back control, the incredible power of an objective financial boundary script. That's the tool that lets you remove the emotion and prioritize your own future with clarity and confidence. And that leads us to the most reassuring thought of all. Safeguarding your financial autonomy isn't selfish. It is the most loving, responsible action you can take for your entire family, because it ensures you can live your own life with independence, calm, and hope.
With all that in mind, I want to leave you with just one direct question. And this isn't for tomorrow or next week, but for right now. What is the one simple action you can take in this moment to start securing that future we've been talking about?
Here it is, your next step. It's simple, it's private, and it is unbelievably powerful. Sometime today, just take out a piece of paper and write down the words of your boundary script. Just those 3 parts: acknowledge and empathize, state your policy, and offer non-financial help. This single act of preparation is your first concrete step toward neutralizing any future pressure. It is how you prepare for peace of mind.